Big news just dropped. A report reveals the European Central Bank is gearing up to launch a stablecoin on the XRP ledger. And let me tell you, the Bitcoin maxis are losing it. Gary Cardone in particular seems to be leading the meltdown brigade. Here's the fun part. Over the past few months, the Bitcoin maxis have unintentionally proven us right about XRP. Yep, you heard that right. For years, they've been shouting about how Bitcoin would crush XRP, claiming XRP was a scam destined to fail. But now they've done a complete 180, essentially admitting that our vision, the one where the XRP ledger plays a pivotal role, is the most likely future. In this video, I'll break down these clashing narratives, dive into why the Bitcoin camp is backpedaling, and show you how XRP is solidifying its place in the financial ecosystem. Oh, and stick around until the end. I'll be going over an XRP price chart that you won't want to miss. Let's get into it. Let's dive right into the report that had Bitcoin maxis absolutely losing it. And here's something interesting. You'll start noticing a pattern. Every time there's big positive news for XRP, Bitcoin maxis seem to spiral into chaos. Why? Because they aren't really backing their arguments with solid research or a cohesive thesis. Instead, it feels like they panic every time the evidence proves XRP supporters right. The reality is the future we're moving toward looks nothing like the world Bitcoin maxis imagined. They pictured a utopia where everyone, from your grandma buying groceries to entire financial systems, relied solely on Bitcoin. But the truth, the landscape is shifting and it's not headed where they thought it would go. It's time to face a new reality, one where XRP is making waves, whether they like it or not. Imagine a world where the US dollar disappears, all global currencies vanish, and Bitcoin becomes the sole means of exchange for everyone on the planet. Sounds wild, right? Yet there are people who truly believe this is the future. Trying to explain why that will never happen feels like arguing with someone convinced the earth is flat. Here's the kicker. If every single person on earth used Bitcoin, each individual would get just one transaction in their entire lifetime. One. It's simply not scalable. But facts like these don't seem to land with those caught up in fantasies of a Bitcoin-dominated world. The dream of Bitcoin as the universal currency doesn't just overlook practical issues, it's also riddled with contradictions. On one hand, they claim Bitcoin will power global transactions. On the other, they insist you should never spend it, only hoard it like digital gold. How does that work? Spoiler, it doesn't. Meanwhile, other cryptocurrencies like XRP are stepping in to address real-world challenges, offering faster, more efficient solutions. That shift is leaving Bitcoin maximalists spinning in circles. As news outlets and experts highlight the potential of other assets to handle massive transaction volumes, it's becoming clear the future of finance might not look anything like the Bitcoin utopia some imagine. Let's talk about the buzz that's making waves. An article claiming the European Central Bank will launch a digital euro on XRP. Bold, right? Now, whether or not this post is legit, let's set that aside for a moment. Here's the bigger picture. Ripple has been collaborating with the EU for nearly a decade. That's not just a casual partnership. That's a long-term relationship. They've already launched a stablecoin with Brazil's government after years of working together. So could a digital euro on XRP really happen? Honestly, I think it's just a matter of time. Even if this specific post isn't from a verified source, the idea itself feels inevitable. Ripple is positioning itself at the heart of innovation in digital currencies, and the pieces are lining up. A digital euro on XRP sounds like a no-brainer for the future to me. Ripple's been in the game with them for quite a while now, and honestly, it feels inevitable at this point. But what's truly fascinating isn't the what, it's the how, specifically how people are reacting to all of this. To really understand the uproar, we've got to step into their shoes and unpack the mindset. And who better to dissect than Gary Cardone himself? The man had some bold opinions to share, stating that XRP will take any path necessary to survive. Now, let's pause for a moment. Who exactly is they in his statement? XRP is a decentralized asset, not some shadowy figure pulling strings behind the curtain. But Cardone seems to think otherwise. He goes on to suggest that XRP will align itself with the most oppressive people on the planet. Dramatic much? His claims even included a jab at certain individuals, like Ms. Cringe, who he implies is ready to turn Europe into a dystopian, martial law-filled prison continent. And then comes the kicker. Cardone compares XRP to COVID-19 Part 2 in finance. Yep, you read that right. According to him, holding XRP is akin to supporting European warmongers. It's a wild ride of conspiracies and accusations. one that leaves more questions than answers. Let's talk about this for a second because, wow, where do I even start? First off, sorry for the slow read through. It's borderline incomprehensible. But what really blows my mind is that this perspective comes from someone considered a respected intellectual in the space. Seriously? The entire argument is built on this wild idea that Bitcoin is somehow fundamentally different. Spoiler alert. It's not. There's no magical line separating Bitcoin and XRP. In fact, XRP arguably has more functionality. Both are decentralized cryptocurrency assets running on public blockchains. So claiming XRP is some sort of surveillance tool while Bitcoin isn't, it's laughable. And here's the kicker. Bitcoin is just as transparent as XRP. Every transaction is public. Anyone can trace what's happening on the ledger, and that's just how decentralized networks work. To single out XRP while ignoring that Bitcoin operates the same way feels, well, pretty misguided. Let's call it what it is, a flawed argument wrapped in technical jargon. Think of it this way. Just like you can see transactions on the XRP ledger, you can see them on Bitcoin too. There's no difference. It's all out in the open. So why the uproar then? Well, it boils down to one thing. It challenges their vision of the future. You see, some people bought into this fantasy where Bitcoin would magically take over the world. Everyone would ditch central banks and suddenly Bitcoin would reign supreme. No more fiat, no more middlemen, just Bitcoin for every transaction. It's a nice dream, but reality has other plans. What's actually happening is far more disruptive to their narrative. Central banks aren't vanishing, they're adapting. Instead of being replaced, they're upgrading their systems with decentralized crypto infrastructure. Tokenization is already here. Major banks around the globe are exploring stablecoins and building on blockchain technology. And that, well, that's a huge threat to the Bitcoin-only dreamers because it signifies progress without complete upheaval. Major banks are racing toward digital transformation, but here's the kicker. Bitcoin can't support the systems they're building. This opens the door for other protocols to take the lead, and one name stands out, Ripple and the XRP ledger. Ripple has been tirelessly working to make this vision a reality, and its progress is impossible to ignore. This challenges everything Bitcoin advocates have been saying about its role in the future of finance. The idea of Bitcoin as the backbone of a new economic system, it's being turned on its head. While Bitcoin will still have a place, it's not as a transactional vehicle. Instead, it's shaping up to be a digital reserve, a store of value, a collectible asset. And that's okay. But the heavy lifting of powering the next financial era, that's where Ripple is stepping in to rewrite the script. Bitcoin may have sparked a revolution, but it's clear the story doesn't end there. The growing demand for infrastructure capable of supporting the next wave of financial innovation is undeniable. And Bitcoin simply isn't built for it. That's exactly what Ripple understood from the start. They recognized that while Bitcoin was a game changer, it lacked the features needed to transform the financial system at scale. The institutions needed something more, something designed to handle the complexities of modern finance. Enter the XRP ledger. From day one, the XRP ledger was built for a tokenized future, enabling traditional assets like fiat currencies, stocks, and bonds to coexist and trade seamlessly alongside digital assets. Ripple saw what others didn't, a world where tokenization would redefine how value is exchanged. The XRP ledger was ahead of its time, a pioneer in blockchain. It was the first to support tokenization. Why? Because its creators understood something fundamental. Fiat currency isn't disappearing anytime soon. Instead of trying to replace traditional money, the XRP ledger was designed to digitally issue fiat and unlock liquidity across siloed systems of value. Fast forward to today, and we see financial institutions proving this vision right. They're not looking to eliminate fiat or replace every asset with Bitcoin. That's not the goal. What they want is a smarter, more efficient system to digitize and streamline the assets they already have. This is where Ripple steps in, bridging the gap between the old and the new, empowering institutions to reimagine finance with speed, transparency, and efficiency. It's honestly hilarious how some people still call Ripple a scam. Meanwhile, have you seen the team behind the RLUSD project? Let's break this down because it's almost comical. And you've got folks in the crypto space, whether Bitcoin maxis or just diehard fans of decentralized everything, praising projects led by anonymous devs like they're the holy grail. Yet, when faced with Ripple's board packed with some of the most accomplished and credible people in finance, they're like, nope, stay away from that. Let's talk about this team. Chris Larson, a Ripple co-founder and a heavy hitter in fintech, Sheila Bair, former FDIC chair, Treasury veteran and head of the New York Stock Exchange, David Puth, X Circle R3 and JP Morgan. Kenneth Montgomery, a former Federal Reserve president of Boston and leader of the FedNow program. And Rajan, just a former IMF economist and part of the Reserve Bank. This isn't just a team, it's a dream team. What we're seeing here is a glaring lack of maturity when it comes to understanding what it takes to build successful, game-changing products. Instead of backing seasoned professionals, people who've held powerful positions in top-tier traditional finance institutions and genuinely understand the evolving financial landscape, some would rather hype up anonymous 16-year-old developers. Seriously, they're putting more trust in unnamed devs, many of whom might have a history of shady, rug-pulled projects. It's absurd, almost laughable, but it's also a reminder that not everyone's opinion deserves to be taken seriously. Now, shifting gears for a moment, let's talk about XRP's price action. It's been a bit of a waiting game lately, hasn't it? The chart shows us stuck in a holding pattern, but there's something interesting brewing. XRP seems to be forming yet another classic pennant formation. Why does it move this way? Who knows? That's just the nature of XRP. It keeps us guessing. XRP is gearing up for its next big move, like a coiled spring ready to launch. It's been through its usual cycle, big surges, periods of consolidation, and then another leap forward. Right now, it's sitting in that consolidation phase, but don't sleep on it. The coming months could be game-changing. With ETF pricing rolling in and launches on the horizon, XRP might just be preparing for liftoff. The market is sending a strong signal. The bottom is solid and momentum is building upward. All signs point to a bullish trend. Economic policies are lining up, interest rates are stabilizing, and GDP numbers are looking sharp. Crypto adoption is accelerating like never before, and Ripple's strategy keeps proving to be spot on. Instead of fighting against banks, governments, and institutions, Ripple chose a different path, collaborating with them. Why? Because these entities hold trillions, even quadrillions of dollars in value, and that value is destined to flow through the next generation of financial systems. Supporting them means shaping the future of finance. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this update.